like being able to talk to like industry speakers, like CEOs and CTOs, like it really did help to build my confidence and talk more smoothly. So
Today, the food job that we're exploring is food science student.
my name is Prairva Plepalakon, but you can call me Summer. I recently just graduated with my bachelor's in food science and technology at UC Davis.
In this episode, we'll talk about what it's like to study food science at this university.
We have a full sensory building, so we can do a lot of like immersive work and like help other like companies that come and use the sensory, and we get to like help them with their sensory products too.
Summer's different co-op positions, including where she found them.
Just like how the name is, they use air to recycle and make it into a protein.
And what it was like attending the IFT First Conference as a student.
Just like full on just cold emailed them because I feel like this was the perfect opportunity to. I would say that because food science is so niche, I'll be honest, I never heard of food science before until my aunt was the one who introduced me to it. She is a professor, used to be a professor in food science in a university in Thailand, and that all introduced me to the exposure, the labs, like since I was in high school, and I found it really cool to be able to have a job that you can eat while you learn and also make something that's also good for the world. So, but I will say that the reason that would I got into like food science and I knew that was something I really wanted to do was just because my like mom, she was diagnosed with colon cancer, and the doctor said that they wasn't any like cure for it. But then we went to another doctor who was specializing in food, and she was the one who recommended different types of food to eat. And a few years later, she was actually like completely cured with colon cancer, and the whole reason for that was because the food that she ate, it changed her whole life and her body like inside, that it just healed. So that really showed me that like food is really important, and like you just can't go without food, and the types of food that is let out into this world can really change someone's life. So that really like hit the spot that I was like, yeah, this is the way to go.
I mean, it's not good circumstances, but it's good that you found, like, you can see directly that it works and that food isn't, because I too, my mom actually had colon cancer as well, and that's not why I went into food. But you realize when you have a healthy body, you might take for granted what you put into your body. You might not realize how it breaks down, and you might think of just the calories or like the protein, the macros and all that, but how it can actually heal the body, you might not think. So that's a pretty strong reason to have gotten into the food industry. So thank you for sharing that. So tell us about, so I don't know much about UC Davis. I don't know much about the food science program there. So just give me a little overview of like, okay, so you go in, you're undergrad, like how does that progress as the years go on?
So going into the food science program in UC Davis, it's pretty competitive to begin with. There's only around 100 students per class. And the reason for that being very small is because all of the classes majority are lab classes. And so they wanted to be very focused on the students, and there's limited spaces in lab. Your first and second year, you would just be learning the introduction to food science. And then towards your third and fourth year, you can kind of choose a pathway. So you can go the brewery track, or you can go the wine, or you can go into like engineering and do other emphasis as well. So we get to learn like the sensory, product development, microbiology, and those are all lab classes afterwards once you hit your third and fourth year.
Wow. Because I know like a lot of the programs I know in Canada, there's like a dedicated like winemaking class, not course, like a dedicated degree in that. There's a dedicated degree in brewery, but I didn't realize that you could like veer off even at UC Davis.
Mm-hmm. There is a, if not I forgot the name of what the wine people are called.
Vineyard? No, that's the people who grow it. Isn't it just winemaker? Oh, I should know this. I have a food podcast.
um, I
Well,
don't know, but there so they have there is a degree for like the wine people, but then we can like as food science just hop into and just take
oh,
like restrictive elective courses,
okay.
and we can like touch into like wine, and then because UC Davis is also really known for their sensory and their coffee, so we have a dedicated coffee lab that we can
Oh
like
my god, that's
learn.
so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool, and we have a full sensory building, so we can do a lot of like immersive work and like help other like companies that come and use the sensory, and we get to like help them with their sensory products too.
So
Yes.
tell me, like, what were some of your favorite courses that you personally took while you were there?
I will say the sensory was really cool. We have a immersive sensory room that you can like taste, touch, feel while you do your sensory analysis. That's really cool to be able to like witness and then see, just like help out all of the sensory activities that are going on with other companies that come and use the space. And I second one would probably be the product development class. I think that really did push forward to helping me know what I want to do in my food science career.
Did you know prior to taking that course? Like, I think that a lot of people, they might not know that. So for a lot of people, it's like, I don't know food science exists. So then they find out like kind of how you do. And then they go into the program and they're still not sure. And then after there's like one class that kind of like, oh, I didn't even know that existed. So did you even know that product development existed prior to like taking that course? Or was it something that was just new to you?
I think it was relatively new. I didn't know what product development meant. Like there was this whole idea of like people say like, "Oh, I'm in R&D, I'm in product development."
Mm-hmm.
That confusion when I was in my second year was first and second year was like, what is the difference? And like not having that exposure to what it's like, because I feel like product development ties a lot to industry, and so a lot of times like in your classes they're all textbook and like foundation levels that sometimes the classes don't know how to like tie it well to like how product development really is. And so this class being a focus and tying it to industry was really like that really like gave me the shape of like, oh yeah, this is what product development could be like.
Okay, let's take a step. Like, what was the class even like? Like, because you said about the textbook, did you make your own products? Did you like what was it that really got you? Oh, I really think this is something that I want to pursue.
Okay, so the product development class in UC Davis is a collaborative class with industry. So we would collaborate with like Mars, Panda Express, like IFT, those student competition, product development
Yeah.
competitions, and it would just be a full year class of just helping students to basically like move on to the competition and like be the finalists in the competition. So they kind of like help guide us like coaches, and we like form our own teams, and then so everybody would be participating in like a different competition, and we're just like helping each other to like basically give each other feedback in the competitions, because like not every team would be on. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it. It's just the have you ever heard of like the IFT competitions?
I feel like my knowledge of it is like from a few years back. So I don't know if it's changed a lot since that, but I know someone listening might not know much about it. So why don't you just like tell
Okay.
us a little bit more? Because I think I assume it's like making a product for IFT, but there's probably a lot more to it.
Okay. Yeah, yeah. So like the competition itself is like focusing on different aspects, so you can work as like one competition could just be like smart snacks for kids, better for you products, focusing on like completely dairy or like something innovation in eggs. And so all there's just a list of competitions that we could like sign up for, and when you're in this class you can just choose one and then form a team, and then the professors will help to like push forward to like be able to be one of the finalists, and we like work together and collaborate.
So is this like a part of your course credit? Like, do you like is that in your syllabus? Like, you have to form a team to pass the class? I guess I'm just getting that disconnect there.
It's a restrictive elective. So when we're in our third and fourth year, the basis of food science we would learn like food engineering, microbiology, sensory, but then you can go and dive into a little bit further and then choose other emphasis. So product development would be an emphasis, a brewery track would be the emphasis. So I just chose, I wanted to like
Oh,
kind of explore more on the product development side, and so that's how
okay.
I got into it.
Well, tell me
Yeah.
about the product that you worked on during that, because you had to have done it during that time.
Yeah. So the product that I worked on, I participated in Ocean Spray's product development competition, and it first started off as we had to use upcycled cranberries in our food slash snack, and the goal was to make a smart snack for kids, so basically meeting the nutritional requirements in school standards to be sold in schools. And from there we made a konjac jelly drink that had upcycled cranberries inside, and it was inspired by an Asian flavored drink back in Thailand. So we pushed that forward and became the finalists for it, and they were interested, and we moved on to make doing R&D with them.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. Wow, so you actually had a connection with the industry. Like, it wasn't just like, here's the product, yay, you did really well, and then it just never gets anywhere. So it actually like had a played a role in industry.
Yeah, yeah, like a lot of the competitions, the win there would be like a winning prize, but if they are really interested in it, a lot of the times the winning prize does move on to like getting to collaborate with the companies as well.
Very cool. How did I could imagine it felt like a dream a little bit, like, cuz you would I don't know, like I feel like when you go into competitions like you're trying to win, but sometimes it doesn't feel like you're actually going to. So to actually like how did that feel?
Amazing, honestly. Like that was my first time stepping foot into like R&D, and just stepping foot into industry in that sector. I just felt like it was all so new, and it's just so exciting.
So like how do you even go about doing the competition in this like in the sense of okay, so you knew you had to do an upcycle like something with the upcycled cranberries. Did they like give you the cranberries and then you just like make stuff with it, or like how did that work?
Yeah, so there's like a prompt. So the prompt was smart snacks for kids using upcycled products. So we still had to meet that criteria, and then they just sent us their cranberries, their skins and pulps of the cranberries, and anything else that's basically listed on the products that they sold. If we ever wanted it, we could just request it, and they would just mail it to UC Davis for us to use.
Oh, okay, and then you just like worked at different batches, wrote stuff down. Did you have access to the labs when you were doing it, like to use it?
Yeah, so we have like a dedicated food innovation lab. So that
Oh my god.
is where we do all of our experimentations. We have like a bunch of equipments that we can like test different product development analysis.
I bet that you probably have more access to like really cool things being in the innovation lab than actual industry, because I know that like having like all these different types of instruments, it can get pretty expensive. So like if it's not a big company, they might not if it's like a small company, they might have to like bootstrap it a little bit more. That's something that I've heard a lot of startups in that do.
Yeah, yeah. I'm really thankful for the lab. It's really cool. You can just think of it as like a playground for like food scientists. It's just a kitchen with a bunch of cool instruments that you can just like toss
Yeah.
together and cook.
I know this is like really random specific, but do you have like a favorite instrument that you work with? Because I don't know, like I love rheometers. That's kind of my thing. So I
Mm.
kind of like gravitate towards them, but like I don't know, is there something that like you really gravitated towards?
I find the texture like analysis machine really cool. It's just because there's just so many like spindles and like
Oh
heads
my
that you
god,
can like
yes.
put on there, and it's just like trying to figure out the right spindle to put for the right product is kind of fun to like just like dibble dabble around.
Yeah. It's a little bit of an art too, just to figure out like what like parameter you're looking for. And honestly, sometimes it's really like if you're squishing something, it's kind of fun to
Oh
watch.
yes, it's very like mesmerizing. It's like just going down like cute.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna shift the conversation from your talking about like your school life to co-op opportunities, because I know that you've also done co-op during your time at school, and I know that you've done some really cool ones. So why don't you tell me a little bit more about some of the co-op opportunities you've had during school?
Yeah, so my first year, I'll just go like in a timeline
Yeah,
matter. That's okay.
yeah.
So my first year, I was working in the sensory department for Chicken of the Sea. So I got to help with their new product line for their plant-based canned tuna and also their pet canned tuna. So that was really fun to help out and push forward their product in that way. In my second year, I got to collaborate with Ocean Spray further than just the product development. So that helped me to figure out that I wanted to do R&D because we got to push forward in our product. And my third year, I worked with Air Protein and I worked as a product development intern there and helped make their ready to eat food. Just like how the name is, they used air to make their products. And yeah.
Hold on. They were using air to make their products. That what?
So I'll say that my third year I worked at Air Protein and they basically use air and make it into a protein to make ready to eat food. And this is to be able to take in the idea from NASA that we should recycle everything that is being used in space and everything should have a purpose for it. So that I got to work a little bit in the R&D for that.
Oh my god, that's so cool. That's like okay, that's taking it to the extreme. Like I'm assuming when they mean air, it's like maybe like microbes or something like that, not taking oxygen. That'd be I mean, I don't think I guess that's what plants do. Take carbon dioxide, but wow, that's was how did you even come across this co-op opportunity, because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I actually, so it's like the old president of Food Tech Club at UC Davis was the one who introduced this company to me, and coincidentally, the timing was right, and the person posted that they were looking for someone to work in their product development team, and I just applied through LinkedIn, and that's how I got in.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, we talk about all that like networking, doing all those types of stuff, and that's important. But sometimes you do get a job from just applying. Like I admit, my first job out of school, I just applied online and I actually did get an interview.
Yeah, sometimes it is just very lucky, but the thing is, they didn't, some people don't post. This might just be like a hack if anyone doesn't know, but some people don't post their jobs that like they're looking for on the job search itself. They might just be posting as a post. So if you just like search up keywords like looking for blank blank intern, you might find a lot more people than you think than just like the job hunt on LinkedIn. And like the girl who was looking for someone to join her team at Air Protein, she just posted like like a text saying that she was looking for someone, and I was
Oh,
the one
geez.
who like commented on her post saying I'm interested, and it just moved on from that.
Oh, huh. That's also good to know because I do see those posts. That good tip. Good tip for those listening. But sometimes I do see those posts, and I'm like, I wonder if they actually like respond back. Like I don't know. You wonder sometimes because it seems like the internet's a void, and it's like, does anything happen? So cool. But so tell me about that experience. Like how like I don't know, like just tell me more. Like I guess I know you probably couldn't go into too many details, but was it totally new to what you had learned in school? Was it anything you expected?
Yeah, it's actually pretty wild. It still boggles my mind today. I feel like the company, so it's a biotech company. I never even thought that a food science, like there's so much overlap in the industry. That was my first time realizing that there's a lot of majors that can be overlapped into food science. You can have like a bio degree, a chem degree, and they can all work in the same thing and help you basically make a product. Um, I I don't know. I think it was really cool. I can't really go much into
Yeah.
detail on like the things, but it what I made is just helping the military cargos so that they don't have enough like so that they don't have to like carry a lot of space carrying ready to eat packaged food. So if they can make the food on the spot at the like war area, they would be able to minimize a lot of weight.
Very cool. Maybe you can talk more about skills. Like during your co-ops, did you find that there was any skills that you learn, like anything that you picked up that you felt that you didn't in the classroom? Like I know for me personally, when I did co-op, like I didn't realize how much of a team setting like a lot of these product developments are. And it's not that you don't do teamwork in school, like you do those group presentations, which are always horrible, and I don't think they're real. Like I guess they teach you to work with people you might not want to, but I felt when I actually went into industry, it was actually much more team oriented, and like you actually worked as a team, and you didn't want to like run away from everyone and do it like at 11 p.m. the night before because no one else wanted to do. Anyways, point being is like, was there any skills that you picked up that you didn't necessarily have? You didn't get a lot from your education. So like how did you grow during your co-op?
Mm, just like how you mentioned, like I think learning to work with different teams and different areas, that's like probably the main thing of like being in companies, that like it's you're not alone and you're working with a group of people, and then sometimes it's not people that might be in the same knowledgeable in the same area as you, so you have to be able to learn how to like relay your findings to other teams so that they can comprehend it too and they be able to work with you. So for example, in my internship at Air Protein, I have to work a lot side by side with the down processing team because they are the fundamental of the protein ingredient itself, and whatever the functionality doesn't work at the end product, I have to relay that message and be able to explain it in a way that they can understand it, that are not a food science term. and try to collaborate in that way. Yeah.
That's tough, especially proteins. Like, I feel like even if you're a food scientist, sometimes it's hard to communicate with one another because, like, it's something in my lab, like, we might all work in a food science lab and we all work with, like, food colloids or food, like, things, but, like, they start talking to me about proteins, and even I can be a little bit like,
Slow down.
okay, yeah, basically. So, like, did you have any, like, tips that helped you when you were trying to communicate with the other teams?
My mentor was a big help for me. She actually doesn't even have a food science uh, background. She graduated with a physics in
Oh,
her PhD,
okay.
and then some biology in her grad. But that really like helped me because some of like the functionality tests that I'm doing, I would explain it to her like, oh, these are what the results that I got, and then she would test me and be like, so what does it mean? Like, well, what does it mean that like just because I give you like the moisture or like the water activity of this, like what am I supposed to do with it, you know? Like so she would be like testing me because now that she works in the food science team, it was a lot of like what she does, she has to like relay it back to the downstream processing. So it's like a coaching back and forth, and then just telling me because I I would have like weekly presentations that I do for the company, and then it would be a presentation for like the whole team. So there's like the product development team, the down processing team. So it needs to be like relayed in a way.
That
I don't
sounds
know if
very
that answers
intense.
my question. Your
It
question.
does. It just sounds very intense, honestly. Weekly presentation. Oof.
Yeah. And then the last one, I had to present it to the CEO, and I was just like, that's scary.
Oh my god, that is scary. But I I mean, it does answer my question, but I guess it does. It sounds like practice. Like, honestly, it sounded like practice and knowing your audience, because how you communicate with this group isn't going to be the same with another group.
Yeah, I agree on that. It's just the way you have to like the way you word it can really like show how you know the product. I feel like just because you say all these technical terms, if you actually like can explain it in like a kindergarten level, that really explains that you know something. Yeah.
I mean, it's tough even when you are, and then sometimes you have the problem where if you've worked with something, at least with my case, like if you've worked with something for so long, you sometimes also even forget that not everyone knows what you're talking about. So like you get so used to your team, and there'd be times where, I said rheology earlier and all that, and like I know you probably know what that is, but then I'm just thinking, I'm like, oh, if there's someone who's into business right now listening to this podcast, like they will not know what rheology is. And then even I have to question what rheology is, because it's always like questioning what you're saying and remembering who your audience is, because it's so easy to get caught up in forgetting that, like, not everyone knows acronyms. Like, not everyone's gonna know what PGPR is, or GMO and XYZ.
I agree. Yeah, just like asking, the fact that my mentor is like constantly asking me questions, like testing me, and then I'm asking her questions, I think that really like helps to communicate and like relay my thoughts of like what I do understand, and like say it out loud.
I think as well, like another way to, like, if you don't necessarily have someone, because she was an expert as well, quote unquote, so she knew if you were saying something too technical on that. But a good way to, I find myself personally, is like writing it out, in my notes, writing it out like in my personal, or even just like sharing on LinkedIn. If you like try to take a concept and try to like change it to an audience, you'll realize if you even know the understanding. Because I think that's another thing as well. We think that we know what we're talking about, and then we realize as we're articulating it, like, oh, maybe I don't really know what that term actually meant. Like texture, like what is texture? And you're like, oh. So I guess my tip is also like writing it out. Taking notes, I think, is very helpful to know your own understanding.
Agreed.
So we talked about the skills and all that, but in terms of co-op, like, I know you did product development and then that made you really want to, but was there anything in that co-op experiences that like changed how you view the industry or like your career path? Was there anything that changed?
I think more it going into air protein made me realize that there is a lot of in between that goes into it. So I would say that air protein is more like an ingredient company. So I didn't realize that it's not just like companies that do finished products. Like you food science, you can also go into like consulting and like there's other middlemans and like beginning before the
Yeah.
final product that I know. So that like opened the doors for me to like search up other companies that like go into that area as well.
I think that's a really good point is the in between like the ingredient sale companies like prior to my graduate degree like I didn't really realize that that's like a whole area is just selling to companies food ingredients and they need like the technical salespeople they need the R&D within their own companies to
Yeah.
like create better ingredients and like they're not making the finished products it's like a whole food industry within the food industry
Yeah, it's
honestly.
like a whole like subcategory of it, but it's like who knew? Because I didn't see any final products with like a label on it in the grocery store that like they would be such a big impact for like the final product. And just like R&D, like they still need to figure out like how their ingredient can be made. So there's going to be a food scientist even in that field too.
Yeah. And I think it also, like a job I learned about too, that is also really cool is they have like technical sales reps. So there's the people like if you're in food science, but maybe you don't want to do product development, you can be the person who helps troubleshoot and like sell the ingredients to companies. And then even within that, I know that there's different, there's like the sales reps who don't actually even really know what the science is behind it. And then there's the technical sales reps who like assist the sales rep because then they can answer those it's pretty cool like yeah I think that's a cool thing that I don't think you realize unless you're doing a co-op as well because you kind of also I feel when you're in school you get the ingredients and you know what you're getting because it's just provided with you
Mm.
and yeah.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Like in school, you kind of learn like the foundation, like how certain things when you mix together, it would be like an emulsifier. Like this is an emulsifier that like these can't be mixed together. Like you know the foundations of things,
Yeah.
but when you go into like an internship or co-op, like these fundamentals are there, but they might not use it in the same way you learned it. And I think that's what I like had to learn to like adapt. Like they might have cooler like technology than we do. Like maybe just like doing an acid like titration can be automatic on their end, but we had to like manually like use a stopper, you
Oh my
know.
gosh, yes. Yeah.
But like just that like adaptability, like being able to just like learn, figure out, and I think understanding the fundamentals still help you to figure out that like oh this machine is doing the same thing, it's just that they have like more cool
More.
products. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, I think this is a good segue to talk about like IFT and the annual IFT conference that just happened. I think it's IFT first. Like that's the proper conference term. Yeah,
Yeah.
that just happened in the past July, and I know that you attended it, and I know that it was really good. And I think that is a good eye opener. I say as I talk like I've been there, but there's a similar Canadian version that's been that you realize how many ingredient sales there are. Like you're not really buying it's not for food scientists to buy products. It's more so to get I mean, there's a lot to IFT. So how was that experience for you?
So it was my first time at IFT First this year. I was really excited. I didn't know what to expect. I just knew that it's not a it's not a marathon. You just have to walk and explore, and then you might not be able to walk the whole thing, but it's really fun. There's a lot of student activities that they like help coordinate to like meet and greets and like a intro interview like preps and stuff for students, so that's really cool to be able to like meet other students and collaborate and like see all the different competitions that are going on the side as well.
I personally haven't been to IFT, but I know that there's a lot of student events like what you just mentioned. So do you just like sign up for the event with your ticket, or is it something that like you have to pay extra for each of them?
So I will say this, like as a student, if you are part of like IFTSA, which is the student association, it's 10 times cheaper to go to these conferences, and I feel like everyone should take advantage of it while they're still in school. And a lot of my friends who graduated this year, the whole reason why they went is because they won't get this opportunity and this price to go into like a
It's a bit of a pricey
yes.
event if you don't have like that student.
Yeah, so like I would say take this opportunity and at least just go once. It's really amazing. If you're part of like IFTSA, so they separate it. There's an expo floor, and then there's also the IFTSA events that are going on throughout the week for students. So there'll be like the meet and greets, and then like I said before, like how IFT also has their like product development competition. So this is where the finalists come in and they will present their products, and they have like small little events that go on just like this. So they would be like separated into like the product development divisions, and they would do the presentation like in person. And then there's also industry speakers who they have their own like time slots throughout the whole event as well. Like if you're ever interested in like a topic that you want to learn more, like for example AI, you can like hop into like this room, and there will be someone who would be like talking. It's so cool.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
And then the like the workshops you were telling me about, like you don't have some conferences make you pay extra. Is that extra on top of it?
For the IFT student ones, they're like included, so you can attend any of them. Some of the networking ones outside that IFT hosts, those would have to you need to pay for, but a lot of the things you can do throughout the day that are free, and I feel like they're still very useful.
Awesome. Did you have any highlight? Like I can imagine IFT. Like you just see the photos online, and that place looks overwhelming with all the different choices that you can do, and speakers, and there's the science, and there's all that. So that being said, with it being done, like, did you have any highlights that were really, really great for you this year?
Yeah, so I will say this, that I reached out to a few people that I knew was going to IFT that I've actually never talked to before. I just like full on just cold emailed them because it's my first time, and I wanted to just network with people outside of UC Davis, and I feel like this was the perfect opportunity to. So I got to meet with a bunch of other food science students, and then there's people also in industry that I just like wanted to chat, and I got to hear more about like their experiences and skills. And like you said, like some people have food science backgrounds and they go into like a sales position, and like this guy specifically, I just wanted to hear like how did he even get into sales, like what was the connection there, and like hearing his story was just, it's just really cool to be able to connect. Yeah.
So it sounds like networking was a real highlight for you.
Yeah, it was. It also led me to come to this podcast. I don't know if I should be mentioning this.
That is true. I mean, you became aware with Nicole and all that different things, but I think good for you for cold emailing. That is scary. Like, I guess I'm kind of used to it now that I do the podcast, but prior to that, it was very scary for me to do.
Oh, yeah, it still is kind of scary for me to do, but like I just feel like if you don't reach out to people yourself and tell them, like no one's going to know what you want unless you say it. So like you need to like put your foot out the door and just reach out. If they turn you down, it's fine, but if they take your shot and like respond to you, then that's good too. I just feel like you just need to like voice yourself out, and like you never know what you'll get.
Did you just, with the cold email, just say like, "Hey, I think you're awesome. Can we like, can I chat with you?" I don't think you did that, but like, what was the setup?
Mm, well, if it's just focusing mainly on IFT first, I just start off by just saying like, "Hey, this is my first time at IFT. I would love to have someone to like walk the floor with me, and like I would love to introduce myself and just connect with you." That's like I keep it kind of simple. If it's too long, they would be like, "Oh, it's too much to read."
Fair point.
Yeah.
Fair point. Okay, so keep it simple, keep it personal. I think people have a soft spot for students as well. Like, I do think that people are more willing to be able to talk, and I like people like talking about themselves. So as long as they like, you don't go in there saying, "Hey, I want a job, I want a co-op position." Like, I think people are pretty nice, honestly.
Yeah, and also like people love talking about themselves, so like just telling them, like just asking like, "Oh, I would love to hear how you got to where you are and your experiences," like that also would like highlight them to be like willing to want to talk more.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then, so did you get some good conversations out of it
Yeah,
in the
I
end?
did. Yeah, that I would say that like one of the girls that I met, she's like in a recruiting company for food science, and she helped guide me to like how a recruiter thinks when they look at like resumes and like what they look for. I feel like that was a really good tip, although it might not have been like obviously I came to IFT trying to get a job, but it either way, like I still think of it as like I came out of this and I got a lot of good networking experiences and tips from this. So like her giving that resume tip, I would say is still like really valuable for me.
Amazing. And then, looking to the future, after, IFT's post, we mentioned that I mean, you said you're looking for a job. So tell me, like, what is the future plans for summer? What would you like to see? Or like, what's your, after this podcast, like, what's your goal?
So after graduation, I'm currently doing an internship as an AI product development software researcher, but that will end in this August. So I am searching for a job, a full-time job in something in product development.
Amazing. Well, I hope you get good luck. I mean, you definitely are putting yourself out there, which I think is something that's very scary, but it's definitely like you get more opportunities the more you put yourself out there. Like, it's kind of how it is.
Yeah.
In all my episodes, I always like to ask my guests a piece of advice. So I'm going to be asking you that as well. So, why don't you give me a piece of advice that you'd love to give the students that are listening who are maybe interested in just something that you've gained from your journey that you think that a student would want to hear?
One piece of advice that I would give to students is probably communication. I will. I think that if you show what you want, people will see the eager in you and the passion in you that you really want it. And people don't know what you want unless you say what you want. So like express, communicate, just talk to the people you feel like you're scared, and like you'll learn to be able to be more confident, and like that's just like a growing curve. And I think like being able to talk to like industry speakers like CEOs and CTOs, like it really did help to build my confidence and talk more smoothly. So yeah, that's like my advice. Just put yourself out there, and you never know what you'll get.
Absolutely. I definitely have to agree. I wouldn't be here with food grads if it wasn't for doing all that during my undergrad. And you get more confident, even though it is still scary, you do get a little bit more confident the more practice that you get with it. And then you realize that, oh, they're just people too. And, if you're awkward, there's always another chance or something. Like it's not the end of the world. So once again, thank you so much, Summer, for coming on the show, telling us a little bit about yourself, telling about your school, your co-op opportunities. I hope all the best for your next steps, and maybe next time we'll get you on the podcast when you have the full-time job.
Yes, thank you so much for having me on this podcast, and I hope that maybe food grads can come to UC Davis one day.